Now, I've covered some controversy on this channel over the, has it really been years already? But I was even kind of surprised when doing the research on the day before situation. What looked like a promise too good to be true turned out to not only mess a lot of people over, but has put a certain smaller company in a situation that nobody on earth wants to be in if they're telling the truth. If you maybe aren't caught up to date on the news, then you've come to the right place. Now strap in, my dear homo sapien, cause things are about to go downhill fast. The suspicious tragedy of the day before. Don't forget to subscribe and deal great damage to that bell thing that takes me off. Ugh. Our great journey begins in a small rented-out room in Yakutsk, Sakha Republic in Russia. The renters of this measly place were the Gotovtsk brothers, who founded the company known as Fntastic. Now, why go back this far? I don't usually start a video at the beginning of a company, but trust me, my dear homo sapien, it has great value in our equation, and for you to make the decision. Nevertheless, the brothers got straight to work on their Kickstarter-funded first game, The Wild 8, and on February of 2017, we got the early beta, but it wasn't until October of 2019 that we finally got the official release. And after that, this company from humble beginnings had 3 more games after it, all of which did not terribly player count wise. Now, years later, after the first game, on January 29th of 2021, Fntastic announced that their next big upcoming game was going to be The Day Before with a gameplay trailer. The Day Before is a game centered in New Fortune City. In a world ruined by a pandemic and some mean zombies, you and other players and characters must survive. You can take quests, work together, build your own home, and buy stuff like cars, experience weather and day/night cycles. It's supposed to be a super realistic survival game, and it sounded awesome. From the beginning, people were already looking forward to this. The guys behind it were already advertising it as a bleeding-edge survival game, where it was more realistic than others, it was more free than some, and so forth. Not long after being announced, it was already one of the most wish-listed games on Steam. Impressive. Scheduled for June 21st of the next year, 2022, things were looking great, but then it was rescheduled a month before the game was supposed to be released and moved in March of the next year, 2023. But it was changed one more time, I promise, and on December 7th of this year, only a couple days ago, it entered early access on Steam. Now, important quick side note, Fntastic uploaded a video to their YouTube page only a couple days before the day before released. That's kind of weird. Now, this video/live stream thing was supposed to be about the behind the scenes of making The Day Before, but really all they did was focus on an app called Continent. Now, with everything taken off their YouTube page, I'll get to that in a second, it's really hard to get information, but Continent is supposed to be some kind of company community communication app. It's all very confusing. Now, when I did a little research on the app, they don't have a lot of reviews, but they're all giving it 5 stars. Shady. It's also located in Singapore, where Fntastic is currently located. Interesting. To me, everything to do with Fntastic just is off or shady. It's far from how more, shall we say, trusted companies these days do things. But, nevertheless, here we are. Now that we've got the running start, let's make the jump into this mess. Hello, what can I do for you? Oh lord, what are you? An owl? Wow. You want me to... No, I love my towel. You can't do this to me. You know what? You're powerless if I just close my computer. Jeez, there you go. What was that? That was right behind me. Something's breathing on my neck. Just subscribe. On December 7th of 2023, early in the morning if you live in New Zealand, Fntastic released The Day Before early access on Steam, instantly getting a good 38,000 players, but it wasn't long until the reviews started flowing in, and they weren't all good. In fact, they were pretty much all bad. Most of the people said that the game wasn't what was advertised throughout the years. Fntastic said that this would be a more realistic open world MMO, but it was closer to an extraction looter shooter. Like, imagine watching all those Elden Ring trailers, only to buy the game and it plays like this. That's how they felt. Part of the open world that Fntastic promoted was a huge city, New Fortune City, that was supposed to be full of explorable buildings and a whole bunch of stuff to do, but what we got in the end was a smaller, very empty environment. This made a lot of people understandably upset because they had bought a game and got none of what they thought they were going to get. So almost immediately the game got bombed with negative reviews. And not long after that, the game entered the top 10 most negatively reviewed games on Steam. Now that's just the surface. While this is happening, but on the side, Edward Gotovtsk, the alleged CEO of Fntastic, deleted his X account, and all YouTube videos have been taken down from the official Fntastic YouTube channel. Very suspicious. This game was priced at roughly $40 at the time most of the people were buying it, and after they did not get what they wanted, they couldn't refund it. Now, Steam has a relatively simple set of laws when it comes to refunding a game. It needs to be within 14 days of the purchase and with less than 2 hours of gameplay. Now, with everything to do with this game going straight down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, everybody wanted to get their game refunded. Fntastic even stepped in to help Steam in getting people get their money back, even if they had over 2 hours of gameplay. Now, this is really big on its own, but trust me when I say it only gets worse. Only 4 days after the game's release, on December 11th, Fntastic made a post on X or Twitter, whatever, announcing that they would be shutting down the company due to financial problems and debt, and that all income earned was being used to pay off their partners. Now everybody was really in a frenzy. By now, there were definitely a lot of people who had gotten their game refunded, but far from everybody. This situation quickly took over the internet by storm, with the game being labeled the scam before. Everybody was inflamed, accusing Fntastic of making a scam of a game and then dipping with all the money. Let it be known that the validity of the financial problems claimed by Fntastic are hard to validate because they haven't opened up a lot about it, you know what I mean? They also claim that they did not receive anything and will not receive anything from the day before sales. This makes sense if they're putting 100% back into paying off the debt. By roughly December 13th, most of the players had gotten the refund. And with that, the situation has been slowly dying away. The number of players currently, as of the time of me making this video, is about 166. With the game soon coming to a close and the company completely shutting down, it seems all is still. Somewhat, of course. But I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about something much, much bigger. The consumer. If you studied economics, then you'll know that a simple exchange is made up of two parties, mainly. The producer and the consumer. Simple enough. Now, through feedback from the consumer, the producer is able to create something that not only appeals to the target audience more efficiently, but ropes in more attention and also reaps more money. So both parties benefit from feedback if acted upon correctly. Now, with the rise in accessibility of social media, it's becoming easier and easier to send said feedback straight to the guy in charge of producing. But not everybody is like the people in my formal example. I believe we can safely say that though the day before situation is a mess and in a way deserved a lot of feedback, it was also kinda review bombed. This happened to Starfield, but on a way less exaggerated way. When people who haven't truly played enough or didn't even play the game still given a negative review just to affect the game's rating and reputation. My question is, have we as the consumer lost our way and our responsibility? I painted a similar picture in my video on Baldur's Gate 3 and why it should be something we compare other games to a rational extent, of course. How our feedback, when given correctly, makes it so that we all get what we want and everybody benefits. But I believe that we've taken it too far. The Peter Molyneux Acorn story is a perfect example of this. Creator of the Fable series, Peter Molyneux wanted to make a game where you could plant an acorn at the beginning and come back at the end of the game and see a tree. This simple feature got cut in later stages of development and has become a symbol of the broken promises of Peter Molyneux. What the heck? It's not only affected the first Fable game, but also bombed Molyneux's reputation on multiple levels. Quote, "That one line then changed people's perceptions of me. I became someone who promised acorns that didn't grow into trees." He's talked years later about how much he regrets what he said, but I don't believe it's entirely a problem of not making realistic acorns, but of the consumers. Now, let's tie this into the day before. It's the producer's job to deliver what they advertised and also vice versa. So Fntastic failed there, but the consumers have lost their way. Both of them have. The modern producers are making games that are, down to their core, created to make as much money as possible by punishing the player for not buying stupid skins and battle passes left and right. Have the consumers forgotten what power we have in simply not buying something? Have we gone so far over the edge as to review bomb a game we haven't played, or even to send death threats to people? Now, am I denying the possibility of this whole thing being a scam? Nope. Am I denying the possibility of this being an honest video game company suffering a perfect storm of events? No. I'm just giving some of my side thoughts here. Tell me what you think. Simply put, it started as a small, fun-raised game and quickly grew into a company known as Fntastic. Years later, they teased the game known as The Day Before. Going back and comparing this game to their others is interesting because they've done nothing like this before. Now, could it be a scam? Could it be something they felt passionately about? Well, on December, we finally got the game and it wasn't what we expected, quite literally. The Day Before instantly went from the most wish-listed game on Steam to the top 10 most negatively reviewed games on Steam. People felt cheated because they didn't get what they thought they were gonna get. They also were in a rush to get their refund, especially after Fntastic announced that they will be shutting down the company due to financial debt. Is this part of a scam? Is it a simple company going through financial hell? Needless to say, this is a mess of a situation. Well, what do you think? I can tell you what, I'm gonna be washing my hands of this situation. What are your thoughts on the validity of Fntastic's claims? I'd like to hear them in the comments below. My next video will be on games that mysteriously disappeared in development and were never spoken of again. Kinda. If something doesn't pop up and grab my attention the day before. Now, I do feel the need to mention that this situation is still continuing on. So if something big happens while I'm uploading the video, there's not a lot I can do about that video-wise, but I will be keeping you all updated on my community page. So go check that out every once in a while. I don't know. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And remember, life is short. Play great games. Oh, yeah, I'm busy too. I'm busy too, yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Bethesda has had a long run of amazing